There we go, you can all hear me now. Hello, thank you so much for taking part in this digital drop in with Google and Parent Zone. My name's Chelsea, and we've got our online safety expert Tim in the chat box. Now, we'd love for you to share your name and maybe where you're watching from today, so please do say hello and introduce yourselves in the chat box. Don't be shy. Now, Tim and I are part of a team in charge of Be Internet Legends, a programme designed by Google and Parent Zone to help families become savvier, safer, and more confident. Now, over the last few weeks, we've been asking parents and carers what topics they'd like us to cover in these digital drop-ins, and protecting personal information was one of the top answers. So that's what we're going to talk about today. This drop-in is one of several that we're doing, including sessions on cyberbullying and sharing carefully. And we're always interested in hearing what topics you'd like us to cover in the future. So if you've got any thoughts or ideas or requests, please do pop them in the chat. The plan for this session is to talk about how we can teach children to protect their personal information. Now, this includes understanding why internet safety and security is so important and the steps that they can take, building mega strong passwords. Now, passwords really are the foundation of good internet security, and developing helpful routines like checking and updating their privacy settings. We want the next 15 minutes to be as useful and as practical as we can possibly make them. And we know that some of the best ideas are going to come from you, sharing your words of wisdom and top tips parent to parent. So if you've got any thoughts or ideas or any questions, please do pop them in that chat box. Tim is there waiting, and I'll keep glancing down to have a look there too and share as we go along. Now, before we do go any further, I just want to check that everybody can see me okay. If I do look a little bit blurry, I recommend refreshing the page on your computer or your phone or your tablet, or you can adjust the settings by clicking on the little cog in the bottom right and selecting quality. And don't worry about missing anything, because you can always watch this back later, and you can share the link to any of your friends as well if you think they'd find it useful. Now, as I said, Tim and I are part of a team that's been teaching an internet safety programme called Be Internet Legends in schools across the UK for almost 4 years now. Some of you might have heard about it from your children, or perhaps you've attended another one of our digital drop-ins. Now, we deliver really fun interactive assemblies like this, and then teachers follow up with lessons that are part of a full curriculum. And throughout the pandemic, we've been supporting schools and families from afar using the power of tech. And Tim's just popped a link for the downloadable version of the teaching resources if anyone's interested in checking that out. Be Internet Legends teaches children 5 really important internet safety pillars, a mixture of skills and behaviours that cover the most important things for children to remember whenever they go online. Now, this includes being sharp, being alert, being secure, being kind, and being brave. Now, if you did want to find out more about the 5 pillars, do check out Google's parent page, and Tim's popping a link in the chat for that as I speak. Now, the programme covers a lot more than protecting personal information, but that is what I'm going to concentrate on today. I'm going to explain what we teach children about it so that you can apply the same approach at home if you think that would be useful. So, let's get started. How can we make sure that children understand how to keep private stuff private? What do we need to teach them about the tools they can use, and what behaviours do we want to encourage? in Be Internet Legends, this is all covered in the Be Internet Secure pillar. So that's what I'm going to concentrate on for the next 10 to 15 minutes. Now, as I've said, the whole programme covers 5 pillars, so do take a look at the others when you have time, or you're more than welcome to join us at another one of our digital drop-ins. And Tim has popped a link for Google's parent page in the chat box. When we're teaching children to be internet secure, the first thing we encourage them to think about is what's personal and what should be kept private. Now, this might sound really obvious, but in a world where children are used to sharing everything and seeing their favourite celebrities share loads of information online, it's really important that we explain what we mean. Now, there are some important rules that children should know, like never sharing their private contact details with anyone they don't know offline, and this includes in messaging apps. Never sharing pictures of themselves that give away personal information, like their home address or the school that they go to. And never sharing their password with anybody other than you if you feel like it's important for you to know it. And that's a decision for you to make as a family. We talk about passwords in the Be Internet Legends assemblies because they really are the first building block of good internet security, so it's a really important topic for children to understand. We want them to know how to create strong passwords and why they're important. Now, unfortunately, sometimes children can share a password with their friend as a sign of friendship, and this can often cause problems. We encourage them to think about why that's not a very good idea by giving them an offline example they can relate to. In the assembly, we say, in your house, you go out and you lock the front door with a key. Now, you wouldn't give this key to just anybody, would you? No? And this is exactly the same with your passwords. It's like the key to your door. Now, it's a really straightforward message, and it's one that you can reinforce at home. Now, you might be surprised to find out that your child has already shared a password with a friend, and if they have, you can work together and help them create a new super strong password. If your child has had a Be Internet Legends assembly, they'll have already been taught some tips and tricks to make super secure passwords. Now, this includes things like picking a unique word or phrase that's tricky for anybody to guess, so there's no point having the name of your family pet or your favourite sports team because that is just too easy. Making sure your password has 8 or more characters, and using a mix of lowercase letters, uppercase letters, numbers and symbols. We also taught to children how you can swap out some letters with similar looking numbers or symbols. So, for example, you could change an E to a 3 because a 3 kind of looks like a backwards capital E, or you could change an S for a 5. Now, if you do have any techniques of your own, please do pop them in that chat box and I will share them with everybody soon. Now, finally, on passwords, we remind them, as tempting as it is, that it's really important to avoid using the same password for lots of different accounts. In the same way you don't use the same key to your front door and your back door and your car. We also tell them that it's a really good idea to change those passwords often too. Now, this is difficult, I know, but it's a habit we should all be getting into. Now, that is quite a lot on passwords, but like I said, they are the foundation of good internet security, and we really want children to really think about them and understand them. Now, there is some more information and some more password tips on Google's Be Internet Legends parent page, including information about a password manager that you might find useful. Now, Tim's going to pop a link in the chat box so you can check that out. So, if strong passwords are a good starting point to good online security, what are the other things that we need to teach children? Here are some more important messages. Now, children should always remember to log out of any applications they're using, especially if they're using a shared device, because closing the browser isn't good enough. Now, this one's especially important to remember if they are using those shared computers or devices, maybe in school or at their local library. They also need to remember to make sure their privacy settings are what they want them to be, and make sure that they're checking them and updating them from time to time. Now, this is something that you might want to help your child with, perhaps making it part of your routine. In a similar way, you might sort out and help them check they've got everything in their school bag at the start of term. Maybe every start of term you check all their privacy settings on their accounts. Now, another one, what children often forget, is setting their devices to auto lock, so that if they lose their device, people can't access their personal information. Now, most websites and apps have these settings under the My Account or Settings option. Now, from here you can adjust things like what's visible on your profile, who can view your photos and posts and videos and any other content you share, and what content you can see when you visit. Now, it's amazing how quickly children can use technology. They seem to be able to pick up any device or use any platform in a click of a finger. But it is worth remembering that children aren't always great at using the tools and settings that are there and designed to keep them safer. Now, research suggests that quite a big proportion of children will share their passwords with a friend or forget to auto-lock their device. And considering that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is still one of the most common passwords used by people on the internet, it's really important to help children understand the importance of good internet security now. And finally, there is one more thing that crops up a lot in Be Internet Legends, and that's reminding your children to talk to you if they're ever worried or confused or unsure about anything. Now, this is the final pillar of the Be Internet Legends programme. Be internet brave. When in doubt, discuss. It can be really hard for children to talk about things that have happened online, especially if they've broken a rule or they've done something they've been asked not to. But it's so important that you get them into the habit of sharing and talking to you about what they're doing online. Because then if something does go wrong, it'll be easier for them to be brave and talk to you or another trusted adult to get help. Now, working together to do things like setting up those super secure, strong passwords or looking at those privacy settings together can be a really great way to get conversations started. Now, I do hope that's been useful. It's been really lovely chatting to you all this afternoon. Now, Google's Be Internet Legends parent page has loads more useful information on the subject, and Tim's going to pop a link for that in the chat now, along with a link to the Parent Zone website where you can find loads more useful information. And that's not all. If you have found this useful or interesting, why not come to another one of our digital drop-ins? Now, we're doing them all the way through the term, covering subjects from cyberbullying to being internet brave and sharing carefully. Now, Tim's going to pop a link in the chat box with the full timetable, and please share the timetable with your other friends and parent friends because we'd love to see them at one of our digital drop-ins too. Google, Parent Zone and Aardman are inviting you to embark on the Legends Family Adventure. Now, this is a 3-part animated series that follows a family of internauts on an adventure through Interland. Now, each episode, there's 3 episodes there, 3 minutes long, and again, I'd really recommend you watching the series with your children. It's really nice, really fun, and can really open up some of the conversations what we've been speaking about today. And do check out Parent Zone's Parent Hub, because it has loads of free fun activities that families can do together. Now, there's something for every pillar of the Legends Code, from kindometers to password poetry. And if you do sign up to our newsletter, you'll be the first to hear of any new activities or resources. And Tim's put the link to our newsletter sign up in the chat box. And finally, have you played Interland? Now, it's a fab online game filled with challenges based on the Legends Code. Children love it and they're really good at it too. Now again, have a go of this game with your children, maybe have a bit of a competition, see who can get the highest score in your house. Maybe the loser has to do the dishes. Now if you are having a competition, watch out for Mindful Mountain because it is really tricky. So that's everything from me. Now Tim's going to pop a link in the chat box for a survey. Now this survey will take about 30 seconds to fill in, and it's just really useful for us to know if this digital drop-in's been useful and if there are other things we can do to improve it. And don't hesitate to get in touch with us via email or on Instagram. All the details are on the screen now. We're always happy to hear from you, and there is no such thing as a bad question. Now before I go, I just want to double check the chat box, make sure I've not missed anything. Fab. Tim has popped loads of really useful links in there, so do copy them down and check them out when you've got time. Get in touch with us if you need us, and if your children do create any password poetry, we would absolutely love to hear it, so do send it our way. That's it from me. Hopefully you join us at another one of our digital drop-ins. Remember, spread the word to your friends as well. We'd love for them to join us. Have a lovely evening. Bye bye.